Right, today we're going to look at finding C. Now, that plus C that's on the end of our result of integration or anti-differentiation. For integration, it's just describing the fact that there can be something there. But for anti-differentiation, it is actually telling you something most likely was there. To find C, we need extra hints, of course, so that we can actually solve the equation to find out what it was. So what happens is that with integration, what we get is when we integrate, we actually get a family of curves. So we end up with many, many different things, because remember, plus C on the end of an equation means a graph goes up and down, if you remember from trig, all right, or from graphs last year, that end plus C is your vertical movement. So what you can end up having is you integrate a straight line and you end up with a quadratic, good, parabola. And that parabola, we don't know where it's at. All we know is that the gradient function for that parabola may have been 2x, all right? So when we integrate it, we get x squared plus c. So therefore it could be, it could just be that one, right? Or it could be this one, or it could be this one, or it could be this one, or it could be this one. We don't know because we don't know what C was, okay? So in integration, when we're integrating, we get a family of curves being the answer. So this is that family of curves. But when we're anti-differentiating, there is probably one answer. And the way we get that answer is to have a hint. So we solve based on that hint, okay? So that's just a bit of mess on the board. Get rid of that. So I'm just going to do this by an example, because you did it last year, so you shouldn't have too many problems. So we're given f double dash. That means that we are anti-differentiating, because this is the second derivative. So we're anti-differentiating to find it. And then we've been given hints as well. We've been given the hint that f of 3 equals 2 and f of 0 equals 1. All right, so last year you were doing this by the form of just 1. You were given the gradient function and told to go back and find out what it was if this point was on the curve or line or whatever you had. So what I'm doing is stepping it up this year and saying, okay, we've got 2 this year, so what's going on? All right, so this could be an achieved merit question in the exam, or it could not be there at all, who knows? But what we have to do is we have to anti-differentiate f double dash of x to find out where it came from. We've got to go all the way back to f of x. So we're going to anti-differentiate once and then anti-differentiate twice. All right, so there's different ways, the box will give you different ways of doing this, but if we've got f of x equals 4x plus 1, when we anti-differentiate to f of x, what do we get? Okay, 4x squared over 2 plus x plus c. All right, so that's 2x squared plus x plus c. Helpful this time because we're going to use this to actually tidy it up for ourselves. Now we're going to go to f of x, which is right, increase the power, divide by the new power, add a power for this one, divide by the new power. This is a number or a constant, so what do we do here? Add an x, good. And what do we do next? D. Okay, it's not the same C. So we can do D, and this is where people do it differently. We can do D, or we can do C1 and C2. So you'll find books do it differently. I find D less confusing because you don't have to worry about those subscripts. So this is our equation we're interested in. We're going to put these two numbers in. All right. So we've got f of 3 is equal to 2 times 3 cubed over 3 plus 3 squared over 2 plus 3c plus d. So that's 27 divided by 3 is 9 times 2 is 18. 9 over 2, nice number, 4.5 plus 3c plus d. So equals 2, all right, from here. So now move everything else over there and we get 3c plus d equals minus 16 minus 20.5. All right, happy with that? So just substitution. Do it again for the other one. So f of 0 equals 0 squared over 2 plus 0x plus d equals 1. So that's 0 cubed, 0 squared, 0, so it's just d. So that's answered one of the questions for us. We know d is 1, all right? Sometimes you will, just by chance it's 0, sometimes you will end up with 2 equations. So this could have easily been a 4c plus 2d equals something, and you just put it in your calculator and solve it simultaneously, and you'll get c and d. All right, this time it solved itself simultaneously, given me d, so I just go back to 3c plus d equals negative 20.5, and I can find out that c equals, whatever the horrible thing that is, negative 7 a half divided by 3 is a 6. I think that might be right. Negative 21.5 divided by 3. Yep. Good. Okay, so that gives us C, that gives us D. We're asked what f of x is, so our answer needs to have those put into it. We're going back to here. Equals 2x cubed over 3 plus x squared over 2 plus minus 7 and a 6th x and plus minus 20.5. No, 1. 7 and a 6th x plus 1. All right, so that's really dressing it up because I'm taking it that you'll know how to find 1 just by substituting and rearranging.